cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name is Sunny. I am here with my co-host, Giant Skyhawk.
Hello, I'm Giant Skyhawk.
Indeed you are, my friend.
I've really got that down now.
Yeah, for sure. We're all getting used to the new setups here and everything. So, of course, before we get too far, we want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors. So, of course, a huge thank you to Steelfox Games, as well as ETB Games, and, of course, Gem Accessories. And, of course, if you're going to check out our Dragon Shield affiliate link, please be sure to do that down below before you buy any Dragon Shield products. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get on into today's episode. So, Skyhawk, let's talk a little bit about what you did this weekend, because what you did is more interesting than what I did.
That's fair, yeah. So it sounds like this episode we're just going to be running through our weekend setups. So I was the head judge at the Edmonton Cyberstorm Access Regional yesterday. It's a lot of fun. This is my second time being a head judge. I've been a floor judge a number of times, but this event was a little bit interesting for a few reasons. So first off, the player count was 41. So
you're at like a big time regional. Okay, yeah,
absolutely big time. And the thing is, like, the smallest Edmonton regional we've had before is 67, and it's ranged up to like 136.
Oh wow!
So like we're small regionals, but like we're capable of being like a mid-sized regionals, right?
Sure.
So there are a few reasons that the player count was so low. First, the lack of a ban list means that people were not very excited to play the format. I think half of the room was playing Kashtira, which probably is not fantastic for player experience at this point.
No, it's not.
But the second thing is that the entire province of Alberta is on fire. As of a couple days ago, the Calgary and Airdrie area has the worst air quality in the world. And literally, as I was going outside at like 7 in the morning to drive out, the whole of outside is just smoke. It's just like smog and smoke, and it looks gloomy. So I think a lot of people didn't want to come out, but the people who did come out had a really good time. Event was run super smoothly, so that ended up going really well. Ran a couple side events, the people that were happy to play. I only had to issue one penalty. To be honest with you, it was not a very taxing on me. Some interesting stuff came up, so maybe we can talk about some format relevant ruling stuff.
Okay. Well, we're back now. Sorry about that. That's my fault.
We're good. These are the things that happen when you're an incredible content creator, such as the both of us.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten used to the remote recording yet.
One funny thing about the a 41 player regional is that the prizing situation is very silly. So if your regional is under 50 people. I believe it's 49 and under is the way it's worded. Top 8 still get playmats, and top 4 still get playmats and deck boxes, but only top 4 get invites. So
really?
Yeah. So 5th through 8 just get they get Arlecchino and they get to go home.
That's really funny.
I'm like, why not just give them invites? If you could give invites to like the OTS champs, and then you can give invites to these guys,
right?
But otherwise, it was quite good, so I can get deeper into my experience later. You were also at a regional event in a different capacity?
I was going to show you what I got while I was at the regional.
Oh, all right. Let's see.
Yeah.
What did the dude bring?
Well, what I brought was the friend, the classic, the one and only Sword Soul, because I'm not original. And I left with where's the other one? I want to be able to do the thing and show you the main card of the deck.
He's looking.
I left with Super Heavy Samurai.
Hey.
I blocked my face. So that the camera actually.
We got that.
On it. Yeah.
We got the samurai sauce.
Yeah. So I left. So I had everything for Super Heavy already. I was just missing 2 Wakaushi? Mm-hmm. Is it Wakushi or Wakaushi?
It's Wakaushi.
Yeah, okay. So I left I needed 2 Wakaushi. I needed Jizukiru's, and I needed an Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, which I picked all of that up over the weekend.
We got that XL.
Yeah. So I went in with Sword Soul. Round 1, I played against Dinosaur. Game 1, I bricked, and I was like, not even gonna show him what I'm playing. So game 2, I boarded hard enough that he couldn't play. And game 3, I had no interaction in my hand at all, except for a Lightning Storm. A single Lightning Storm. That was the only card that I had in my hand. Other than that, I had gas. The issue was he put up Borreload Savage, Logia, Appaloosa with 3 negates, and
Big Boss Man?
another
Ultimate
monster.
Conductor
Oh,
Tyranno?
and UCT, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's UCT, Logia, Borreload Savage with 2 negates, and Appaloosa with 3. And all I have in my hand is a Lightning Storm. So naturally, you know how that went.
Right.
I top deck Dark Ruler no more. So.
We always stay winning.
But what's funny is I had Dark Ruler no more, and I used Dark Ruler, used Lightning Storm, and the last card that he had in his hand was a Ghost Ogre, and my hand was like Moyi, Adhara, and maybe like something else, right? Like it wasn't a hand that really did anything. And basically I was able to make a Chisao, and then I just passed. And then he set one, passed back to me. I think I hit over something. And we ended up in this situation like a couple of turns later where he has a UCT and a Giant Rex on board. And I'm looking at my hand, and my hand is Gamma, Driver, Moyi, and Longyan. And I have a Vashuda and an Ashuna in my graveyard. I just cannot figure out like what to do here. Like I can't figure out what the line is. And what I ended up doing was I activated Longyan, discard Moyi, summon Longyan.
I see where this is going.
And he used UCT to book the Longyan. And then I used Vashuda to bounce UCT, and then I used Adhar to add Vashuda back. And then I summoned Vashuda, and then I realized that I didn't really have anywhere to go from here, which I messed up. What I should have done was use once I summoned the Longyan and he booked it, what I could have done there is actually tribute summon Driver.
And then that gives you a Synchro 10, right?
Right. And so I can either use Vashuda to bounce Giant Rex to his hand and then Adhara to add Vashuda back. Or what I actually probably should have done and then use Driver to go into Baron to pop UCT. What I should have done, and this I messed up from the beginning. I should have normaled Moyi instead. And then I normal Moyi, activate UCT, normal Moyi, activate effect, reveal Longyan. He activates UCT to book Moyi. I activate, at that point, I already have the token on board. I activate Vashuda, bounce back Giant Rex, activate Adhara, add back Vashuda, and then activate Longyan.
Yep.
Right, exactly. That's the line I should have done. Somebody else said I should have tribute summon Driver. I think I should have done that line. Because I knew that, but I was like worried about him having something in hand too. I don't know. I had too much to worry about, and realistically, I was worried about so much that I didn't just look at the cards in my hand and make the right play.
That happens. That's a tricky
also,
one.
I was running on 3 hours of sleep, so I was very tired.
It is interesting that will absolutely give you that I think people very much underrate getting sleep as a way to improve your performance, but it really does matter.
I was talking to a friend of mine who hasn't been to a regional with me in a while, and he said, yeah, I went to like 3 or 4 regionals when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot. He goes, and I never did well. I said, well, you want to come with me to the one on the 3rd? And he says, I might go to the one with you on the 3rd. I don't know. We'll see. What time are you leaving? I said, I'm leaving my house at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said, it's a 4-hour drive there. He said, oh, well, I'll just do what I always do and just stay up all the way through to the regional and sleep on the way back. I'm like, no wonder you never do good at regionals. You never sleep the night before.
Yeah, it's tricky because I know for some people, including me, it can be tough to like make yourself go to bed earlier if you have to get up earlier, and that can really screw up your sleep. But if you can at all, it's definitely worth it.
I mean, you're talking to the guy that went to bed at 3 Friday night and woke up at 7 for the regional.
Yeah.
You know, or 3 and woke up at 6:30, something like that, or 2:30 and 6 o'clock. Something I don't remember. I woke up early.
I assume that being round 1. I assume the rest of the run didn't pan out.
So I ended up losing to that. Round 2, I played against. Oh gosh.
I know.
Well, I know rounds 3. I know rounds 3 and 4. 3 was Super Heavy Samurai, which I lost to barely, and 4 was Trap Tricks, which I beat handedly. No, 2 was Trap Tricks. 3 was Super Heavy. I beat Trap Tricks 2-0.
All right.
I lost to Super Heavy 2-1, very close in Game 3. And then round 4, I beat Sword Soul. I beat the Mirror.
We got them dubs.
I know a guy that was at the regional. Played by round 4, he had played 3 Sword Soul. I'm serious. Like a third of the room or more was on Sword Soul.
I mean, Sword Soul to me, I think is going to become kind of like what Invoked was a few formats ago, where it's just like the deck is perpetually good, and early in formats when people are not sure what to do, it's a very safe choice that has a high skill ceiling. So that means if you're good at the deck and you're a good player, you can do well. I think
instead of Return to Monkey, it's Return to Monk of the Tenye.
Return to Moye.
Return to Monk of Tenye.
Monk of Tenye. Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna be the shaman. I'm gonna tell the future. You're gonna play Sword Soul for the rest of time.
Actually, no, I won't, because I have Super Heavy built now.
That's true. Sunny is going to learn a new deck. I'll make it.
I also have Mathmech built, and I've mostly learned that deck too, actually. So the choice paralysis comes. I spent a lot of time labbing Mathmech with one of my friends Friday night. I came very close to playing that deck, but I ended up returning to Moye. So the issue, though, is that I played it even more on Saturday, and I really feel like I could play Mathmech now. So
yeah, you can join Shiggies, to become a math crew member.
I could. I do think that Super Heavy is a better deck, but I also think that Mathmech maybe has a little bit less hatred in the format for it right now. So
that's exactly what I was going to bring up. It's Super Heavy is really, really good, but it is easy to hate against. So if people are prepared for Super Heavy, you have to be on the high end of the curve to do well. Whereas with Math, I think there are some people siding Bystials, but it's not frequent. And you have a lot of lines that play under the hand traps people are playing. So I think it's a good choice for the format.
I think the other thing with the Super Heavy deck in particular is that you really need to have cards like Kurikara and Fenrir.
It's expensive.
Yeah, and they're really expensive. Which I might be able to get 1 or 2 copies of Kurikara before the next regional. I'm going to see if I can make some trades happen. I know some people that have them that are looking to move them.
If Kashtira gets hit, Fenrir might get a bit less expensive.
That is true. And Fenrir is a card worth playing. So
yeah,
we'll definitely see.
You see a lot of lists play 2 of it. It's kind of weird because I almost think in the Super Heavy deck, Fenrir is better as an extender than it is as like a tool for doing anything else, right? Like putting the level 7 body on board for free is nice. Being able to thin out your deck is nice. Being able to have follow-up if your whole board gets cleared is cool. And it's like it's a monster you can fit that does something going second that works well for a combo. Like that's basically all you can ask for in a deck that's monster combo, right?
Right. Today's episode is brought to you by ETB Games. ETB Games is, of course, our locals in Alexandria, Louisiana. They are our one-stop shop for all of our card game needs. They have singles and sealed product for the games that you love, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon. Of course, you can also find the accessories that you need, such as sleeves, binders, playmats, and more. And if you're into D&D, well, they have all of your D&D figurines, the paint for the figurines, dice, books, and anything that you would need to play. So be sure to check out ETB Games. There's a link in the description down below. And now, back to today's episode.
I do have a few other things about judging the regional that I want to talk about. Just
how many side judges do you have? How many other judges do you have for an event that small?
There were only 2, other than me. So it was me and 2 other floor judges. We should have had 1 more, I think, because even with a small regional like that, it becomes difficult. You
want at least 3 floor judges and 1 head judge.
I think so, because if you decide you want to run side events, you want to have 1 judge that can just focus on running side events, and then that leaves like 10 tables per judge ish, which is not ideal, but it's okay. But the other thing is that it makes it really hard to do deck checks if one of your 2 floor judges is going to do side events. And then when you're trying to do deck checks every round, it's like either I have to do both so that there's a judge on the floor, or the person running side events also has to take calls from the main event, and that sucks. I think even for a small event, you should probably plan for 3 floor judges minimum. And then if you're going to be above 50, you should have more than that for sure. I think the reason they were small, they were expecting like 30 people to show up, to be honest. Just because of the situation in the province and everything. But 41, we ended up there. I do have top 8 results. Not that a 41-person regional is necessarily a good representation of the meta. And then I can also go through my polls for my judge packs.
You got judge packs.
I do. So compensation, actually, this is a good discussion for people who might be interested in judging. So regional compensation has actually recently gotten a lot better for North America. So if you are a floor judge, you get paid minimum wage for the state that you're at, but you get paid for the full time. Head judges, correct, I believe, receive a premium. I think min wage in Alberta is 15. I believe I get $20 an hour for being the head judge. I think assistant head judge is somewhere between.
Wow, that's way more than I got when I was judging. Wow.
Minimum wage in Alberta is 15 Canadian. So that's
minimum wage in Louisiana is $7.25 American.
That's dumb.
Yeah, trust me. I worked like 10 hours and I made like $80.
That is, I mean, to be fair, in Maple money, that's about 100, but that's still ridiculous.
Yeah.
The other stuff that you get, so if you'll get like some supplies. So if you don't have the judge lanyard, you'll get like a lanyard. You'll get the judge pens. I have one of those I can pull out. Those are real nice.
I got the lanyard and the pen as well. Yep. And the little judge, the card that goes on the end of the lanyard. Yeah.
The judge pens are actually really nice too. They got blue, black, and red.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
They are. I use them for everything. They're fabulous.
I will say I'm a very big fan of the judge pen. Yeah.
The lanyards are also quite nice. It's cool to have like the Yu-Gi-Oh kind of. I like the judge custom color scheme that they have. And starting kind of recently, like maybe 4-ish months ago, I think, judges, if you're judging a regional, whether you're the head judge or a floor judge, you also get the Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight judge sleeves. These are rather valuable, so it's definitely a really good incentive. It's a huge boost to compensation for floor judging, which I think is something that was desperately needed. Previously, you only got like the supplies and the wage if you were a floor judge. This is like, I think this is a great move.
Yeah, for sure.
They're also just cool sleeves. I love like the judge style background. The other thing,
I didn't know that they were expensive, so I opened mine and I've been using them.
I might use them. I have the Master Duel sleeves from the giveaway, and I have these. I'm gonna pick one of them to be like, I'm gonna flex on people with these, but the other 2 I'm keeping sealed for the rest of time. The other thing that you get if you're a head judge or an assistant head judge is you get a gift of 24 booster packs of the set for the regional that you're judging. So in my case, I got 24 packs of Cyberstorm Access.
Ooh, okay.
So my pulls were kind of whack. So one thing to note, this isn't a box. So it's 24 loose packs that they set aside for you as a judge in the packets that get sent out. So ratios are a bit weird. I pulled 5 ultras and 1 secret. So out of 24 packs, which was kind of weird. But,
what ultras?
So I'll show you. So I pulled a super heavy samurai brave Masu Urano. This is the one that you don't play.
Oh, sick!
It's I love drawing. I love drawing 3 cards and then losing because it's not an interruption.
And it is also still gonna get me drolled.
1 billion% it will get you drolled. All right. Then I've got some other cool stuff. So I pulled 2 copies of Tellarknight Constellar Kakudekis.
Oh no!
To be fair, this card is actually really good. I kind of want to be messing with this deck.
That's pretty cool.
There's some fun stuff.
I mean, it's not expensive, but it's kind of cool.
Exactly. Then I pulled an Ice Jade Rain Acherine. So,
what a run! This is an all timer.
To be fair, this card is also kind of cracked. Low key, I think there's a universe where Ice Jade is a playable rogue deck.
Don't.
See,
we have a certain moderator that's gonna lose their mind when you say that.
Catch me on the next episode of Deck Debate, activating Adoin Cradle. Okay, so
don't tell me you're gonna make me read all the Ice Jade cards.
Yeah, you assume I haven't already read them.
No, you're gonna make me have to read them.
Actually, I am. You are gonna have to read them. So then my 2 good pulls.
Terrifying thought.
My 2 good pulls were I got I'm ballin'. I got a Gold Pride Pinballer.
Okay, yeah.
That's not bad. This card is cool. I will say, maybe this is me coping. The ultra rare prints in this set actually came out really nice.
I agree. I've pulled a couple of ultras here and there.
They're not quite Duelist Saga, but they're looking nice. And then I pulled Chaos Angel. So I think I have to take.
Oh well,
yeah. I think I have to take the W on that.
Yeah, I was really hoping that you pulled a couple of Ringo Worms so I could get them from you.
I have copies of Ringo Worms that I need for a purpose I cannot reveal yet.
My brother in Christ, I'm playing Sword Soul.
I am not allowed to tell you what the Ringo Worms are for.
Leaks.
You'll find out very soon. I'll put it that way.
Oh no. Okay.
The other nice thing that I pulled out of this set, this is just a bit of a tangent, but so I've got 3 Sleepy Memory and 1 Pearl Lily. I was excited to have those. They're commons, but we are experimenting with this engine in Fluffle.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Because Plump can attach 2 copies of Toy Vendor from the graveyard, and then when you link it off, you can resolve Toy Vendor 2 more times.
That's insane. What?
Yeah, so you could guaranteed resolve 6 Toy Vendors in a turn. And with Plump,
holy moly,
if you play 2 Fluffle Sheep, you can just hard make the Plump, so you don't even have to draw those cards.
Jeez.
But I didn't come up with that. Ease was the first person who thought of it. Outback and Wedgie Ninja have been messing with it, but
again, of course.
It's cool. So I guess last bit for like judging the regional, I'm gonna go through a couple of rulings that came up that people might find important, and I will give you the results. So
yeah, sure.
The 2 there were really only like 2 major ruling questions that came up.
Okay.
Multiple times.
You ask me the question, and I'll see if I can answer it correctly.
Yes, that's what I was going to do. Okay. So, player A activates the effect on the field of Psyframe Lord Omega to banish itself and a card from your opponent's hand during the standby phase.
Okay.
That Omega is then put in the graveyard by a separate card effect. And is no longer banished at the point that the standby phase happens. Does player B get their card back in the standby phase?
I need to read Omega.
It's a reading Omega time.
No.
I will ad-lib the Jeopardy music while you're reading.
So stupid. I can't believe we're doing this. We're making this.
Are you still reading Omega? I have.
Okay.
I have more.
I just pulled it up.
Okay.
Once per turn during the main phase, quick effect, you can banish both this face-up card from your field and one random card from your opponent's hand face-up until your next standby phase. It's return during standby phase. Turn banish card returns to the graveyard. This card's in your graveyard. Trigger one other graveyard. Okay.
It's time for daily double. Pew, 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 pew.
I would say that yes, your opponent gets the card back.
Why?
Because it says you banish both this face-up card and one random card to your opponent's hand until face-up, but like both doesn't necessarily inextricably link the cards. So because it says, I would think that both is like the key word here.
Kind of.
Right.
So it's what. Yeah. You are correct actually. So the one interesting way to put it, it's not the exact same wording, but the card that I like to use to kind of demonstrate the concept of this is Survival's End. They say,
of course,
cards that say, yeah, of course, cards that say them and both do not need both targets to exist like at the point where the effect would resolve in the same spot.
Right. So my example for this would actually be Sword Soul Blackout, because you target one on your field and two on your opponent's field, and you destroy them.
Yes.
So you can actually activate Blackout, targeting your own Sword Soul monster, and then chain Heavenly Dragon Circle.
Mm-hmm. Still resolves.
Tributing the monster, and it still resolves and pops there too, and you get a Surge.
Exactly. You've got it exactly right. The difference, there are some cards that say those targets, for one, and those cards have to be able to hit both in order to resolve. But because it says them, or in this case, it says both, rather than it doesn't specify the cards, is basic kind of like, I guess, a decent way to put it. So, question number 2. I don't remember the full name of this card. So, Grangunal, the branded fusion card. Yeah. And this is going to be Nibiru. So, player...
the Dusk Dragon?
Yeah. Grand Tusk Dragon, yeah. So, player...
Grangunal the Dusk Dragon.
The Dusk Dragon, yeah. I don't remember the full name of the card.
Yeah.
There are too many fusions.
Okay, yeah.
So, player A controls Grangunal.
Okay.
And player B activates Nibiru. Can player A activate Grangunal on the resolution of Nibiru?
Yeah, of course it can.
Okay, why?
What do you mean why? It's if the condition was fulfilled. If a monster is special summoned by your opponent's activated monster effect, except during damage step, the condition is fulfilled. You can banish this card from your field or graveyard. Okay, well, it doesn't matter if it's in the field or the graveyard when the effect when this happens. It was in the graveyard. Who cares?
Okay.
It was if the condition was fulfilled.
So, here's the interesting bit about this. So you're correct. You have the right answer. But the reason that this question came up is because a player misunderstood conjunctions. So the way that conjunctions work is based on the specific conjunction, it determines whether effects happen simultaneously or sequentially. So basically whether they're treated as having happened at the same time or happening at a different time. Nibiru is kind of a funny case because this card has multiple conjunctions. So multiple conjunctions means you kind of loop them together. So Nibiru's text is actually I'm going to pull up Nibiru's text just so that I can.
But Nibiru doesn't summon until its effect is resolving. So therefore, when its effect is resolved, then Grunganol would be triggered.
Okay, so
when it's already in the graveyard.
So to explain this, Grangunol is not treated as already being in the graveyard when the Nibiru is summoned, but it is when the token is summoned. Check this out.
Huh.
So, but
he can activate its effect on the field or grave.
Oh, can Grangunol be field or grave?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then this is dumb. I missed that. I'm a fabulous head judge, everybody. So,
I was so confused. I was like, I don't see why you couldn't special summon the Dogmatica monster because, like,
I ended up at the right answer in the wrong way. Nibiru's text, it says you contribute as many face-up monsters on the field as possible, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand then special summon with primal being token.
Okay.
I misread the fusion. I thought it could only activate in the graveyard, so that's on me. But the reason that the multiple conjunctions things matter here is that and if you do is treated as being simultaneous, but then is treated as being sequential. So the monsters being tributed and the special summon of Nibiru happened at exactly the same time. So if Granganol could only activate in the graveyard on resolution of like that effect, Granganol could not activate its effect because it's not treated as having been in the graveyard while a monster was special summoned, because they happened at the same time.
Okay.
However, the then means that the part of Nibiru's effect that summons the token happens after the other effect.
Right.
So in that case, the Granganol is in the graveyard at the time the token is summoned, so you can activate the Granganol. However, as I have just learned, this doesn't matter because you can activate Granganol from the field. So who cares? But
that's really
yeah, so those
funny.
are kind of the main two things that happened. I only had to issue one penalty. I won't get into the situation just because discussing specific is not something we should do, at least especially right after an event. I had to issue a marked card strict penalty. But that was the only issue that came up, and it was like unintentional.
Right.
It was just an instance where I had to issue it because like by the book, it's right there.
Yeah, it's like you're walking by a table and you notice that somebody's like sleeve, one of the corners is kind of like kinked in, and you're like, okay.
It was. I will say it was more. It was a more severe instance than something like that. I guess I could tell you. I won't discuss the players. I can't tell you what happened. So there was a player who, they had cards in their deck box, that were not on their deck list, which were in the same sleeves as the main deck and side deck.
I've been there.
So after investigating, I determined it was unintentional, but they were copies of Ash Blossom and Nibiru, which is why their opponent called the judge. And so we investigated. It looks like this person just didn't know like the rule. This was just the thing that they put their cards in.
Yeah, I've also had that happen to me before, because like I've also had that situation where like I was in a case tournament and I didn't know that you weren't allowed to have other cards in your deck box, and I had one of those like big gem deck boxes that are like really big and they hold like a lot of cards. So I just had like other cards that I'd cut from my list in the box, and I was like, they were like, yeah, you can't have this at all. So
yeah, 100%. And it's one of those like, it's the same principle as like living in a society, right? Like ignorance of the law is not an excuse for breaking it, but it does mean that you can use it as a teaching moment, which I think is the most important thing you can do as a judge, especially if it's somebody who hasn't like been at very many events and maybe is not as familiar with policy. If you can make that experience like as the least amount anxiety inducing as possible, it's very good. It's like like when I issued it, it's like, hey, just so you know, you're not getting disqualified. You don't have to worry about anything additional happening. You're okay. But in this case, I have to issue this penalty because of this. And here's the section of the policy that says exactly what the penalty is for this and why. If you can issue penalties in that way, it makes it a lot less disheartening for players. And when you can give them that like direct information and say, hey, next time you should make sure you read these, because then we don't have to do this, right? And I want you to come back and I want you to learn. Being able to come at it from that perspective, I think, is helpful.
You know what I never understood? That whole ignorance of the law is like no excuse for breaking it. I'd never understood that, because to me, if you truly like are ignorant of a law and you break it, I don't know how they can really like hold you accountable for something you didn't know was illegal in the first place. Like a great example, is like that one time that I allegedly in Minecraft called for all of our fans to do a coordinated DDoS attack on Konami. I didn't know that was illegal, and nothing ever happened. But if it happened, I don't know what the outcome would have been, because I didn't know that was a thing. I just told everybody to get on Konami's page to request, keep refreshing the ban list page until we get one and crash the page. But I didn't know that was illegal. I mean, that's what they did in Japan, and that's why now they have set dates for their ban lists. Literally. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, about 6 months ago, the Japanese players were refreshing the ban list page so much that they crashed the page, and Konami said, "Fine, we'll give you a ban list on X date." And so now they get a date.
I remember.
Yeah,
I do actually remember this now that you mention it. Okay. I mean,
and right after that happened, I said, in theory, if we were to do that, we have way more players than the Japanese player base. So in theory, if we were to do that, I bet we would start getting ban list dates. But
so they always had ban list dates, but the reason that happened was the night of when the list was supposed to be at. So that's why there was a bunch of refreshing. And then Konami came out after. I think the OCG came out afterwards and was like, "Hey, sorry guys, we need a little bit more time. Here's the new date." So they already had dates. It's just that they missed that one.
I thought that it was like the ban list was no sooner than X date. I thought they had like a no sooner than. They didn't have like an exact date.
I think they announce exact dates.
I know they do now.
They do now.
So listen, I'm not saying we should do a coordinated DDoS attack, but I'm saying if we did, it would probably work.
Okay. Well, I'll let the lawyers determine the veracity of that.
Like, I'm just saying, like, if we were to like just to say on like Saturday, May 27th at noon Central Standard Time, if we were to all get on, like, it would probably work.
On an unrelated note, so I do have the top 8 results.
Okay, sure.
And this is not this is a 41-person regional. This is not an accurate format snapshot, but I do think it is worth noting for a specific reason, which you will understand after you know what these are.
Okay.
So, in first place we have Branded. In second place we have Super Heavy. In third place we have Kashtira. In fourth place we have Kashtira.
Okay.
In fifth place we have Kashtira.
Okay, I don't like where this is going.
In sixth place we have Labyrinth.
Okay.
In seventh place we have Kashtira. And in eighth place we have Dinomorphia.
That's a deck for sure. Yeah.
So what's interesting is there's a very good player at my locals, Blake Morrison, has a couple YCS tops, who a couple of weeks ago was genuinely considering playing Dinomorphia for Philly because people aren't playing back removal and it plays really well under Droll. And that theory held up. This guy played against, I think, 5 cash players over 6 rounds, won 4 rounds, won 4 straight, and the wheels fell off at the end, but they still stuck in the top 8. It looked really good. And again, 41-person regional, but Dinomorphia now has a regional top. That's cool.
Dinomorphia already had regional tops. I'm just going to let you know that, brother.
Oh, it had other tops? This format?
Oh, not this format, but like...
Oh, yeah. Previous.
Okay, yeah. I have friends that got second and third place, or third and fourth place at like 150-person regional, and right before Nationals last year with Dinomorphia.
Yeah, it has tops. It's just I don't think I've seen any for Cyberstorm Access format, so I think this is the first one. But maybe people might want to pick up their Kentrogenus. Maybe.
I will also say this: yesterday's regional in Baton Rouge, the top, it was 108 players total.
Mm-hmm.
Of that 108, I happen to know that there was a top 16 with invites. I know there was a couple of Kashtira for sure. There was a couple of Mathmech. Third place I know was Labyrinth. First place, I want to say this guy was playing... I want to say he was playing Super Heavy. Could be wrong. But I sent a message to the person that I know that got third one, Labyrinth. And shout out to Aaron, Top Tier YGO on YouTube. I know he got third with Labyrinth. I don't know exactly what else got top 8. But I know that there was Mathmech, Super Heavy, Kashtira all represented, and considering a third of the room was Sword Soul, I would be just a little bit surprised if there wasn't at least like one in top 8. But I figure if it can top all these nationals that are happening all over the world right now, it can top a regional.
Yeah, I think it's possible, and not just possible. I think like it's a deck you can play. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like it's not like pulling off with Crystal Beast, right? Where you have to be Neshi. But
Yeah.
like it's definitely an additional level of playability for sure.
Yeah. So my question to you is, so you've judged a couple of these regionals now. Have you gotten your invite to nationals yet? Have you played in any of these regionals?
I do.
Okay.
I do have my invite to nationals.
Okay.
I do not have it from a regional though. I got my invite at an OTS championship this year.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
are going to be at nationals.
Not necessarily. I have my invite should I so choose to make it, but it is going to depend on some stuff.
Oh, come on, brother.
like
the people want a live podcast episode. Leave all the comments telling Skyhawk how badly you want a live episode.
Okay. Listen, if somebody could come up with a funnier patron name than the Blackwing one, like the Blackwings with feeding the ducks of the park, I will consider it.
Buddy, do I have news for you? Because we do have a couple of new Patreon names, and I've read them, and they are something.
All right, I'm excited to see them.
Yeah, we'll get there.
What was it? There are a few things that I want to do. Like, I eventually want to be moving, and then I have, I want to build a PC so I can start doing things a little bit better. It would be really cool to be at nationals. So,
yeah.
Here's hoping, but
Agreed.
I'd say
We could do a really awesome vlog because I'm having our editor come as a cameraman.
Justin is a true professional.
He is.
That guy's something else.
He is, yeah, for sure. So
any other regional side notes, or is that
no more like regional news? Did you have any side events at your regional?
We did. So we ran one Winamat and one structure deck.
Oh, okay. So no time wizard.
So there was no time wizard, but there's a very good reason for that.
Okay.
So the owner, the tournament organizer, posted the format for Time Wizard the day before the event. And
yeah, that'll do it.
The format they picked was March 2013.
What a weird format. I mean, believe it or not, that's a really good format.
Oh, it is.
But
I and it sucks because there was one person who, like, when it was announced, was like, I gotta get in the lab on this, and they built a whole deck, and it was the night before the regional. They had it planned out, and they were the only person who wanted to enter.
Well, the beauty is if they had only one person that entered the event, that person won by default and got the Light and Darkness Dragon map.
So that is not the case. You have to have a minimum of 4 participants for the event to fire.
Well, buddy, I'm just gonna tell you. Yesterday at our regional, I don't know if they didn't know that because it was their first time ever hosting a regional, but they had 2 side events. They had one advanced format Winamat and one Edison Time Wizard event. And they fired the Edison Time Wizard event with 6 people. And they fired the advanced format Winamat with 2 people. They literally walked up. We were play testing, and then at the end of the table, they walked up and they were like, "Hey, you guys are the only ones that signed up for the Winamat. Whoever wins the match, we'll just give you the mat." So now I don't know if they're gonna get in trouble for that, or maybe I misheard and that's not what happened. I don't know, but my understanding, that's what they did. So I'm hoping that they enjoy that mat.
Did you win the mat?
I wasn't in. I wasn't playing. I was play testing at the other end of the row of tables,
I see.
And they were play testing 6 tables down, and I was. They
was thinking they walked up to you.
No. They walked up to the, they sat down to do the winner mat, and the judge walked down and were like, "You guys are the only ones that signed up, so winner gets the mat." So
that is very funny.
So yeah, I mean, I like that they wanted to branch out and do a new format for the Winamat in the 2013 one at yours. But in a 40-man regional, you would have trouble firing Edison, much less March 2013. Although I will say, March 2013 was a really good format.
Mm-hmm. I was not playing real Yu-Gi-Oh! In March 2013, so I can't say for sure.
The best decks at that time were Fire Fist, Mermail, and people can say what they want. Dino Rabbit was a real deck at that time still.
That's kind of what I was playing.
Yeah, it was double. You could have 2 Rescue Rabbits, you could have 2 Tour Guides, and then you could have like Lagia and Dolka and stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely heard good things about that format. It's interesting that it's not played much. I guess because Hat feels very similar. So it's kind of like
it's right before Dragon Rulers.
Yeah, I was gonna say this would be like just pre Dragon Rulers.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that like pre-rulers and post-rulers actually end up in a similar play style wise.
Well, it's funny because you have like the set that released the Dragon Rulers, which was Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy, was actually hilariously the same set that the best Gear Gia card released in, Gear Gia Gear. But nobody realized how good the card was until like a year later, going into Hat format, when everyone's like, wait a minute, this card's broken. It's just that we never played with it because it was in the Dragon Ruler set.
Remember when Gear was limited? Remember
when
that
was a time we went from full scale Dragon Rulers to set Gear Gia armor pass.
I hated armor so much.
I love that card. Oh, I love that
card. None of the dinosaurs ran over it. I did that.
Oh no, life's so terrible.
I can't run over it,
dude.
With Weibo.
I love Gear Gia armor. Gear Gia was my favorite deck for at that time that I had ever played. Yeah, because it was like it felt like a real cohesive strategy.
It was a cool advantage deck, like the fact that you could use armor recursively, accelerator to do like more explosive plays, Gigant X to keep your resource loop going.
Yes,
like the Geargiano stuff to have access to different level pools.
Arsenal lets you tag into whatever you need. Yeah,
exactly.
And then
definitely a cool deck.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool resource loop. And the deck's most explosive version was the Karakuri version of the deck, which lets you go in with Barredo and Beret. You can draw some cards. You can, and on top of it's only like a 5 or 6 card Karakuri package that you're running, and it's searchable. You can bounce your Geargia accelerators back to summon a Genex Ally Birdman for free, and then summon Accelerator back. So good.
Definitely
so good.
True.
Yeah, like if you have a Geargia armor, you flip it, you search Accelerator. The next turn, you search another Accelerator, and then you go the to Accelerator. You go Accelerator and armor into Gigant. You can search the Birdman, and then you can special Birdman. And then I want to say, if you have another Geargia, you can go and you can resummon the Accelerator for free, but that one didn't always come up. But I don't know, just the ability of the deck to get into any machine engine is just so good.
Very, very cool.
I love Geargias. I love Geargias. So.
God, I was playing back in those days. I was not a very competitive player. I was on Dueling Network a lot. I think.
Not Dueling Book,
format,
Dueling Network.
Network, yeah. Hat format was, I quite loved Hat. Because pre-Rulers, I was just doing nothing. I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Online around the, like when the Dragon Rulers were limited.
Right.
That was when I started playing. And I was playing Dino Rabbit with 1 rabbit. It was basically just Dino control with like Hydrogeddon Guaiba, some Hyper Hammerheads, and then Sabersaurus Rescue Rabbit, with 3 copies of Shrink, 3 copies of Lance, and 3 copies of Dress. And the whole idea was basically like use the attack reducers both as protection for your dinosaurs and as ways to like clear bodies.
Yeah.
So that you can use those to go Lagia Dolka, and then you just like set your back row. So rather than like the rabbit kind of explosiveness with the tour guides and everything, it was a lot more like stick your guys on the board, get advantage, do like swings with Hydrogeddon. It was really bad in dragon ruler format, but it was really good in hat because I don't think I've explained this interaction on the podcast before. I've maybe explained it to you.
Maybe.
So in hat format, this deck was actually quite good. I won a lot of like the Dueling Network forum tournaments on it. So it had like a sick win rate against hat because when your opponent sets the 1000 defense fire hand, if you open Jurak Guaiba and Forbidden Dress, you normal summon the Jurak Guaiba, and you attack the fire hand. Forbidden Dress beats Guaiba, beats their whole board, because if they activate Bottomless, you chain Dress targeting your Guaiba so it can't be destroyed. But if they don't activate a trap, when you attack into the fire hand, once it flips up and you see that it's fire hand, in the damage step, you activate the Dress targeting your own Guaiba. Not only is Guaiba now 1100, because Dress only reduces by 600, which runs over the 1000 defensive fire hand, fire hand can't activate its effect to destroy the Guaiba, which means it can't summon the ice hand.
Right.
So you get to summon your Velo from deck, you overlay into Dolka. Now they can't do anything because they can't activate their Murmello effect on normal summon. You just negate it with Dolka. They can't activate the artifacts because you negate them with Dolka, and the Dolka is bigger than Moral Tech was because Moral Tech was 21. So they can't just like not activate the Moral Tech and run it over, and they can't like activate the hands. So if you open like Guaiba in a way to protect it into Fire Hand into like any set monster, you beat them. And then if they activate like a different like trap hole, you just go Lance, and then you wait to do the same thing next turn.
Yeah, of course.
So anyway, that's my ramble about what I was doing when people were doing.
Those cards are forbidden for a reason. They're really good.
Forbidden. Shout out to Forbidden Scripture, the worst one.
True, for sure.
Now we got Droplet.
Droplet's insane. All right, well, let's go ahead and read some patron names. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, so a huge thank you to DBZ, but it's just my 2-year-old yelling as long as possible for no reason.
That's good. That's good.
Kane Martin, Zyphorus, Cards Goetia, Earth Machine, Best Deck, Epi. Has anyone actually read Toy Vendor, HH Cyber? If all you have is a Cosmic, every problem looks like a floodgate. John Lil, Monstratron, Mountain Man, Oatmeal Spaghetti, Owen Alvarado, Seto Kawaiba, Silver Hope, Sunny, Floodgate of the Goddess.
Yeah! That's good. When are we getting that alt art, by the way? I want that one.
Oh, gosh. Don't encourage anybody.
Can we have Sunny on the bear?
Oh, no. Unbanned number 95, Konami. No ideas. Unbanned number 95, Konami. Understanding and reading are two different things. Virtually Saviors World, Rogue and Tier 2 are the polite terms for bad deck. Aaron Gardner, Asami, Ashless Chaps, Atsuyo, Simp at the Silver Castle, Blackwing, Silver on the Ascendant is the best floodgate. Box Wine, come on and get your game on. Duty Booty, Dragon Maidenless Behavior, Dragon Maid Sunseed. I'm about to Rika Glamour to for Cross these plant nuts in your mouth. Cam the Hockey Walkie / Mixer, Old Man Red, Pinko for 3, and slaking it up. Thank you all so much for your continued support of the podcast. And again, come on, guys. Come on, get with the Patreon names. We need to make Skyhawk laugh as much as possible. His laugh is a national treasure, and we need to keep it that way.
I will say I appreciate a good patron name. I think so far, maybe like I think we could get to SEMO territory for silly names. I think
that's what I'm saying. At one time, they changed so often that we were like there, but they just don't have the same ring that they used to.
Y'all gotta get working on the sauce so that we have to read them.
Yeah, come on and get your game on.
Come on, get your game on.
I knew you were gonna break out in a song. I knew it. You can't help yourself.
I do not have the capacity to stop.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. So, with that said, I think I want to just thank you all so much for joining us today. And until next time, have a great week, everybody.
See you all next time.